Ever wondered why people bury themselves in debt or squander their fortunes? It's all about the intricate interplay of emotions like envy, greed, and optimism, the human factor driving our choices. In The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel delves into the crucial connection between emotions and financial behavior, arguing that understanding this psychological aspect is often more important than traditional financial knowledge. In this video, we'll explore how your life experiences shape your investment approach, why navigating through failures is integral to achieving success, and how envy drives investors to risk everything they already have. Everyone has their own unique experience with money and the economy. When John F. Kennedy ran for president in 1960, he was asked about his experience during the Great Depression. His answer surprised many. He explained that his family was already wealthy in 1929, and they actually became even richer over the next decade. It wasn't until he went to Harvard and learned about the hardships faced by many others that he realized the extent of the suffering. It's not just the rich and the poor who have different experiences, we all do. Contrasting economic experiences extend beyond the divide between the wealthy and the less fortunate. The backgrounds of individuals, such as the child of an unemployed farmhand versus the child of a prosperous Manhattan stockbroker, shape their perceptions of risk and reward in financial matters. Furthermore, even individuals of similar wealth may hold differing views influenced by unique life experiences. For instance, someone accustomed to periods of high inflation will approach finances differently from someone who has only known stable prices. These varied perspectives influence financial decisions. We often think we understand how the world works, but in reality, we only see a small part of it. This is especially true when it comes to money. We might know less than we think. Understanding this is the first step in understanding the psychology of money. Our personal experiences heavily influence how we handle money. When economists study how people manage their finances, they often imagine everyone making logical decisions that benefit themselves the most. But in reality, things are more complicated. Consider the lottery, for instance. Many low-income families in the United States spend around $411 every year on lottery tickets. Interestingly, about 40% of all American households struggle to gather $400 in case of emergencies. Surprisingly, this 40% largely consists of the same low-income households spending just over $400 on lottery tickets. Is this behavior rational? Well, not exactly, but it's not entirely illogical either. When you're barely making ends meet, it's hard to set aside money for essentials, let alone treats like vacations. Playing the lottery is a long shot, but it beats the alternative, that is, not having any chance of getting rich. The main idea here is that our personal experiences shape how we deal with money. These kinds of seemingly irrational decisions are more common than you might think. A study by economists Ulrike Malmendier and Stefan Nagel in 2006 looked at data spanning 50 years from the Survey of Consumer Finances, a project that tracks how Americans manage their money. They discovered that the economy's condition during a person's young adulthood influences how they handle money later on. This means that our early experiences affect how much risk we're willing to take with investments. For instance, if inflation was high during someone's late teens and early 20s, they were less likely to invest in bonds later in life. On the other hand, if inflation was low during those years, they were more comfortable putting money into bonds as they got older, even if inflation rose over time. This trend also applies to stocks. If the stock market performed well during a person's early adulthood, they tended to invest in it later on. If it was weak during the same period, they tended to stay away from it. The economic ideas we rely on today are all very new. So why are so many people bad at handling money? The main idea here is that our economic concepts are still quite young in terms of human evolution. For example, the first coins were minted around 600 BC in Lydia, an ancient kingdom in what is now Turkey. More complex economic concepts, like retirement, are very new in terms of human history. Before the Second World War, most Americans worked until they passed away. It wasn't until after World War II that Social Security was introduced, making retirement more attainable. Even then, retirement remained a luxury for many until the 1980s, when Social Security benefits increased. The concept of a 401k, a common way to save for retirement, wasn't introduced until 1978, and the Roth IRA came about in 1998. Other financial tools like hedge funds only took off 25 years ago, and the oldest index fund is only 50 years old. Even consumer debt such as mortgages, car loans, and credit cards, which drives a lot of economic activity in the United States, only became widespread after the GI Bill made borrowing money easier in 1944. So, if we struggle with financial planning, it's not because we're irrational, it's because these concepts are still new to us as human beings. The role of luck in financial success is often underestimated. A few years ago, the author asked Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Shiller what he'd most like to know about investing that can't be fully understood. Shiller's response was about the exact role of luck in successful outcomes. The main point here is that luck has a more significant impact on financial success than commonly assumed. Economist Bhaskar Mazumdar found that the income of siblings is more closely related than their height or weight. This implies that if one sibling is wealthy, the other is more likely to be wealthy as well. This correlation can be explained by the fact that siblings from the same household often share the same opportunities and privileges. The dynamics at play here stem from human psychology. We tend to either underestimate or overestimate the influence of chance on outcomes. Our own personal success often leads us to attribute it to our hard work, while our own failure is often seen as a result of bad luck. However, when others fail, we are less inclined to attribute it to luck, instead attributing it to personal flaws such as laziness or lack of foresight. Focusing on general trends instead of individual instances can lead to better decisions. So, how should one consider chance and luck in financial decisions? The answer lies in avoiding excessive focus on specific individual stories. Often, when we study highly successful people, we highlight outliers, such as billionaires who reshape industries, which can misguide us. The main point here is that concentrating on broad trends rather than individual cases can improve decision-making. Consider John Rockefeller, an incredibly successful entrepreneur. When he built his petroleum empire, he encountered legal obstacles. His solution was to disregard the laws. While today we may admire his boldness and innovation, had he failed, we might see him differently, perhaps as an unsuccessful criminal. Ultimately, luck plays a significant role in outcomes like Rockefeller's. Small differences in circumstances or timing could have changed his fate. Additionally, good luck is difficult to replicate. Even if one were to mimic the career path of someone like Warren Buffett, replicating their success is far from guaranteed. Consider this alternative approach: focus on examining trends in success and failure. The more prevalent a trend, the more likely it is to be relevant to your life and financial choices. Research consistently demonstrates that individuals who manage the organization of their daily routines tend to be more satisfied with their professional endeavors compared to those who don't. Rather than relying on rare instances of extraordinary success, this is a widely applicable insight that you can implement immediately. Envy makes you reckless. Capitalism is wonderful at two things: creating wealth and envy. Consider a young baseball player earning $500,000 annually. By most standards, he's well off. But when compared to a superstar like Mike Trout, who earns $36 million per year, dissatisfaction may arise. The rookie desires what others possess. Similarly, high earners like Trout may find themselves envying those who earn even more. In 2018, to rank among America's top 10 highest-paid hedge fund managers, one needed to earn at least $340 million annually. Even Trout's substantial salary pales in comparison. From a capitalist perspective, envy isn't inherently wrong, but it poses practical challenges. The central message here is that envy can lead to impulsive decisions. Consider Rajat Gupta's story. Rising from a Kolkata slum to become McKinsey's CEO, Gupta amassed a fortune of $100 million upon retirement. He could have pursued anything, yet envy gripped him. He aspired to billionaire status. In 2008, as a Goldman Sachs board member, Gupta learned of Warren Buffett's impending $5 billion investment to support the firm during the financial crisis. Within seconds, Gupta engaged in insider trading, purchasing 175,000 shares of Goldman Sachs before the news became public. Gupta's actions were illegal, driven by envy and a desire for quick gains. Despite earning $17 million through illicit deals, he ultimately faced severe legal consequences, highlighting the folly of envy-driven decisions. The lesson? Envy can lead to poor choices, with repercussions far outweighing potential gains. It's akin to overindulging until sickness ensues. Knowing when to stop is crucial to avoid regret. You can buy The Psychology of Money on Amazon for around $10. Please see the link in the description. And please take a second to subscribe to our channel. It's free and helps us to create content like this. Alright, back to the video. Accumulating wealth is often simpler than preserving it. In the early 20th century, few stock market traders rivaled Jesse Livermore's prowess. Born in 1877, he played a pivotal role in Wall Street's development. By age 30, his wealth amounted to $100 million in today's dollars. Just before the 1929 crash, Livermore made a strategic move. He bet against stocks, anticipating a decline. As expected, the market plummeted by a third. While others faced financial ruin and tragic fates, Livermore returned home with astounding news. He had profited the equivalent of $3 billion. However, the story doesn't end happily. Livermore's subsequent actions exemplify the pitfalls of success. Blinded by triumph, he escalated his bets and suffered significant losses, depleting his entire fortune. Eventually, burdened by debt, he tragically ended his own life in a Manhattan club in 1940. The journey from wealth to ruin highlights a fundamental truth: sustaining riches demands different skills than acquiring them. While making money requires risk-taking, optimism, and courage, maintaining wealth necessitates humility and an understanding of the precarious nature of success. Many individuals share Livermore's fate, albeit with less tragic endings. Approximately 40% of publicly listed companies lose all their value over time, and the Forbes 400 list experiences a 20% turnover every decade, excluding deaths and transfers within families. So, how does one safeguard their wealth? The answer lies in perseverance. Successful entrepreneurs endure over time, avoiding catastrophic losses. Central to their strategy is a healthy dose of fear. Renowned venture capitalist Michael Moritz underscores the importance of viewing potential gains through a lens of caution, prioritizing the protection of existing wealth over chasing high-risk ventures. You can make a fortune even with a significant number of failures. As per his own recollection, Heinz Bergerwin didn't exhibit much promise in his early years. When he fled Nazi Germany in 1936, his future seemed uncertain. After studying literature at the University of California, he pursued a career in journalism with a side interest in art criticism. In 1940, he made a pivotal purchase, a small watercolor by artist Paul Klee for $100, igniting his lifelong passion for modern art. Fast forward to the 1990s, and Bergerwin had become one of the most accomplished art collectors in history. In 2000, he sold his collection to the German government for €100 million, a fraction of its estimated true worth of $1 billion. His collection, featuring numerous masterpieces by Picasso, Klee, Matisse, and Braque, was hailed as one of the world's most significant. The main takeaway here is, you can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. How did Bergerwin accumulate such a remarkable collection? Was it skill or sheer luck? According to research by investment firm Horizon Research, the answer is intriguing. Their findings suggest that all exceptional collectors share a common strategy: they acquire a large quantity of art. Some acquisitions turn out to be wonderful investments, especially if the collector holds onto them for a long time. The majority, however, are duds. The key, as outlined in Horizon's report, lies in holding onto the successful acquisitions until their overall value compensates for the underperformers. Bergerwin's approach resembled that of an index fund, with risks diversified across a wide spectrum of investments. Rather than selectively choosing pieces based on personal preference, he acquired as much art as possible and patiently waited for standout winners to emerge. This principle extends to all investments and is often referred to as the long tail, where a small number of events contribute to the majority of outcomes. While the concept may involve intricate mathematics, its essence is straightforward: succeeding in a few ventures allows room for error in others. Failure is inevitable, but the nature of your successes ultimately determines your overall success. In simpler terms, when you possess a Picasso, the presence of 99 duds acquisitions becomes inconsequential. Final takeaway: making financial decisions is far more complex in reality than portrayed in economics textbooks. Many choices, such as purchasing lottery tickets when facing financial hardship, may not seem rational but have their own underlying logic. Similarly, investment decisions are frequently influenced by individuals' early experiences with the economy rather than solely based on objective assessments of current market conditions. In essence, financial choices are intertwined with psychological elements. So what's the optimal approach? Acknowledge the role of luck in achieving success, learn to fear losing what you already got, and remember to hedge your bets.
If you like this video, you are going to love this one about the book Die with Zero. It's about getting all you can from your money in your life, and how to die without regrets and without your hard-earned money being spent by other people.